Hello and thank you for joining us on the hot seat. Tonight we host the Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, and of course he's going to share with us his life story and much about the politics going on in the country. Join us, let's have a conversation. So thank you so much, Speaker, for joining us on the hot seat tonight.
Thank you so much.
How is it going?
The going is so far so good. I can't complain. I think so far I'm happy.
And it's a season where you're having debates in Parliament. There was just a special sitting yesterday,
Yes.
earlier this week. So how does that feel with now that you pushed to next week for another sitting?
I think the discussions were very, very interesting, I must say. If I would rate, those were some of my best moments in terms of very engaging discussions, very exciting moments. You could see a lot of passion, people discussing with a lot of passion. Of course, not necessarily agreeing, but articulating the issues very, very, very well. I enjoyed, actually, I didn't even realize how time was flying so fast. So we pushed it to next week so that we give everybody an opportunity. You know, this is it's an important constitutional moment for this country, and therefore we would not want to rush anyone. We want everybody to have an opportunity to say what they want to say.
Interesting. So before we go to the details of BBI, let's just start with your story. Who is Ken Lusaka besides being the Senate Speaker?
Ken Lusaka is was an ordinary boy born with those sides of Bungoma in a place called Kamkuywa in Kimilili sub-county. Just went to school there, local school. Born my late father was called Nelson Lusaka. My mom is still alive, called Rhoda. They were both teachers, and I just grew up like any other ordinary young man doing what every other boy does in the village.
Did you have siblings or were you the only child?
No. We were 8 of us. 2 passed on. One was doing medicine. Another one died at the age of 10, my sister. So we are 6 now. I'm the firstborn.
And how was it growing up in the village at that back in the day?
Yeah, it was very tough. Remember that being a son of 2 teachers, it actually can be tricky. The teachers were very strict. So we grew up under very strict rules. And also my mother is a lay canon in the Anglican Church, so we also grew up with a very strong Christian faith. And that's how I was brought up, going to Sunday school, making sure that we go to church and all that.
And where is it that you went to school?
I went to school at Kamkuywa Primary School from Standard 1 to Standard 7. Then I went to Kibabi High School for my O levels. Remember those days we had O level and A level. Then from Kibabi High School I went to Friends School Kamsinga. From Friends School Kamsinga, well, I didn't get the minimum points that were required to go to university. So I went to Chesamis High School to repeat, and it's there that, actually 1983, I led the whole school. I was number 1.
This after repeating?
Yes, after repeating,
so
yes.
You were a sharp boy, maybe you just
Yes, when I was a bit of a joker when I was in in A level. Okay, I was doing too many things, drama, music and all that, so I think I didn't balance it well. So I came at the top of our class, 1983, and joined the University of Nairobi, where I studied political science and history, literature first year. Then, of course, I dropped literature and pursued government or political science and history. I attained a second class upper division degree. And then after that, I tarmacked for about 3 months.
So before you leave to tarmac, were you part of the university leadership or did you become a leader way later in life?
This is something I picked later in life. I was actually standing and I was going to pass as Hall 1 rep, but then a friend of mine talked to me. When you looked at the lineup, you can tell the kind of inclination that he was taking, because we were full of book as our student leader then, was very radical, and we had been with him to school. So my friends felt maybe that would have interfered with my with my education, and it came to pass. Actually, he was arrested and jailed for 5 years, and then quite a number of students expelled. And
So that's how you survived.
that's how I survived because I didn't run. If I had run, clearly I would have been, I would have won and I would have been expelled because I was a very close ally of Wafula Buke. Then after that, the only thing that I did at the university was drama. I was in the traveling theatre. It was very, very active, very lively. That time I remember us going to act The Burdens by John Ruganda, which was a set book, and I was the main actor in that book play called, the lead actor is called Wamala. So I was quite active in drama.
So you can still act now.
Yes.
Do you remember any line from the book?
What I remember the line I remember in the book, that's the William Shakespeare. That is The Merchant of Venice. Like, I know not why I'm so sad, it wearies me. You say it wearies. Yani, kusema kweli sijui nina huzuni na sijui kiza cha huzuni wangu. Something that we actually acted in Kiswahili.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, Mapepari wa Venice. And remember, I didn't do Swahili. And I did Swahili up to Form 2. But I was acting, that time I started acting when I was that was in Form 6 at French School, Kamsinga. Again, I was the main actor, Antonio, in The Merchant of Venice. Yeah, so my memory was quite good then. I guess with the time, you know, as you grow, and these are the many things that we take, it tends to go down.
All right, so after campus, 3 months,
Yeah,
Tamaking
as usual, Kenyan.
And then what's next?
So one day when I was at home taking busa, I got a letter.
Started early.
After campus, that's not early. That was I had come of age. So my late brother brought me a letter. You know, those days we used to get letters from our post office. Our post office was in Kimilili, so I got a letter inviting me for an interview at Public Service Commission. And then after the interview, I waited and got another letter inviting me, telling me I had been successful, been recruited as an administrative officer. So I reported at Kenya Institute of Administration, which is Kenya School of Government today, on 16th January 1989. And that's how I started my journey in the public service.
So at this point now, what were you called to do?
That time I was an administrative officer, but after KIA, I was posted. I was among the 10. We were about 80, but I was among the 10 who were posted straight to the field as district officers. So I was posted to Kisii.
Prestigious post at the time.
Yes.
These were seen like
Yes, of course, very serious people. So I went to Kisii. I served at the headquarters briefly. Then I was given a division called Keumbu, or Nyaribari Church. That's where Simon Nyachai came from, and the late Andrew Manga, Jared Kangwana, and all those people, all these Kisii heavyweights. So I served there until 1992, when I was transferred to Muhoroni. Muhoroni, I served there till from 1992 to 95, when I was posted to Homa Bay as a DO1. It was while in Homa Bay that I got a scholarship to go to Netherlands for my master's degree in public policy and administration. And then I came back. I was posted back to Kisii. Then I also worked in Sia as a DO1. Then I went to Guch as a DO1. Then Eldama Ravine as a DO1. Then before getting promoted to become a district commissioner in Kajiado.
So all this time you
Yes.
worked as a DO.
Yes.
At what point do you become now a DC? How many years later?
From 1989 to 2002.
Just the other day, somehow.
Yeah, not long time ago, yeah. So those are how many years. If you have to calculate, you can calculate 1989.
That's almost how many years? I can't do the maths right now.
Yes, you can do the maths. You can easily get the maths.
It's like 14 years.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you know that was okay. Is it? Of course, that is 19. No, this is not 202.
Yes.
202 minus 1989. Yes, that's about 13 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so 13 years. Then I became I must say I rose very fast. I didn't. That's quite fast compared to other people. in the provincial administration. So I became a district commissioner in Kajiado, where I served from 2002 to 2005. Then I went to Marakwet. I served briefly.
So as a DO, you served under President Moi.
I served under President Moi.
Were you an informer? Because what we understand is Moi worked with the people in the villages and districts.
Not informer as such, but sometimes, occasionally, depending on a situation that would arise, he would sometimes call you directly. Like when I worked in Eldama Ravine as a DO1, sometimes he would call me directly to find out what is going on or what is happening, and you tell him, yeah.
What was the feeling when you saw President Moi calling you?
Of course, the feeling was very nice. That time we were using the landline.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the landline. So they'll call you and it will ring, and then they tell you just a minute for the president. He wants to. Of course, there's a bit of anxiety and fear because you don't know exactly what he's going to tell you, because he can easily determine your future. He might be firing you, or he might be promoting you. So you wait to hear what he has to say. Then I worked in Marakwet. Then I also served as a DC in Murang'a, now under Kibaki. Then I came again. I was promoted to become the first Secretary Provincial Administration in the Office of the President.
So before we go there, how would you describe working under President Moi?
It was very, very exciting, actually. When I look back, we had many of these patriotic songs. You know, we would never miss national days. And whenever Moi also came around, there was a lot of work to be done. You grew up being very disciplined. Moi was very strict with time. Whenever they said he was rais atawasili kama dakika tano kufika saa tano, it would be exactly that. So he really kept time. He was also very good with figures. His memory was very good. He would give statistics of schools, children, schools in a particular area where he went. And he was, I would say, also a hands-on person, somebody who was very keen on what he was doing. And then he was also very keen on education. Yeah, very keen on education. And you can you realize that it's during his time that we had a lot of expansion of university education. Then there was, of course, he had also very many, he meant very well. He had very many good projects, but I think he was let down by some of the people who were implementing. Like if you look at the Nyayo bus, Maziwa ya Nyayo, kuna those who took Maziwa. Then we had the Nyayo wards, we had the Nyayo T-zones, you know, all those things that he came up with that were meant to really bring a change. So it was very nice working under him. And then Kibaki, I was lucky because I worked with him as a DC, then as a PS, when I was in the Ministry of Livestock Development. Again, it was also very exciting because Kibaki, one, did not entertain fitinas. He would not listen to you. He would tell you, sema mambo yako hiyo wachana nayo. Kibaki was also a very intelligent person. He would look like he was not getting what you are saying, but then he would if you went to brief Kibaki, you had to have your facts right. So if you just go there with stories, he would actually dismiss you. Then, of course, I resigned in 2012.
But how different were the leadership styles of the two presidents now that you worked with both?
Kibaki was hands-off. Kibaki believed in once he gave you a job, you would do it. He was not quick at taking actions. Just like I've said, he was somebody who would, you would think he has not heard what you have said, but then he would have heard. He was very sharp, very pleasant to work with. He would not interfere with your work and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Then now Kibaki lives in 2012.
Yes.
And you also leave the
Yes, I also leave the public service. Yes.
How was that transition?
It was good. Given, you know, I had that background because having served as a district commissioner, as a DO district commissioner, PS, and even my master's thesis was on decentralization, where we were also looking at devolution, deconcentration, and devolution, deconcentration, and there's a third one as a way of decentralizing power and decentralizing resources. So I found it just more of a continuation. But what was even more interesting to me is how I got there. You know, I had never planned to get to politics anyway. I thought I would, at the end of my public service life, that's when I retire. One, I never knew I would be a PS. So I got to become a PS at a fairly early age. I was less than 50 years. Then we realized that you are already at the peak of your career.
Public service.
Public service, and then, like you rightly said, we were having a transition. We were going to have a change of government. So one time I was discussing with the then PS infrastructure roads, Michael Kamau. We realized that there's no way, because we were 43 PSs, we realized that there was no way 43 of us were going to be retained, whichever government came to power. So it's at that point that I said, now, since I had done a few things to go home, and I had an understanding of devolution, let me relocate. Thank God I went and won the elections with a landslide, being the first governor of Bungoma. I got over 242,000 votes. I don't know whether anybody will ever break that record in Bungoma. So then there, as a governor, again, I served now with the third president of the republic, who is the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, presidents. And
how did people receive you back in Bungoma now that they had been seeing you on other platforms, way like far from them, and now here you're coming to serve them in the
They were very excited. In fact, people say I won the 2013 election before the elections because, you see, I had been one of them, one of the prominent sons. Actually, I was like, at some point, I was the only district commissioner from Bungoma. So everybody like knew me. But this was now an opportunity for me to serve my people. And of course, the clarion call then, if you looked around, they would say they didn't want a politician. They wanted an administrator, because the work of a governor was not going to be purely politics. It was going to be more of an administrative job. So there was a lot of excitement. I went, I won, worked very well, of course, with challenges here, balancing politics and service delivery. I was more on service delivery than the politics.
So now you serve as the first Bungoma Senate
Governor.
How was that experience?
It was very nice, challenging though, because, you know, we were setting up structures. There was nothing. We were getting into uncharted waters. Of course, I was in a different political party with my senator, Wetangula, who felt maybe I should have been in his party. So we had a bit of wrangles here and there. Most of the MCAs, you know, I didn't have the majority until mid-term. That's when now I had majority. And you see, if you don't have majority, then a lot of your things run into problems. You know, you can't really pass them. But I did what I could. The records, history will judge me. People of Bungoma know what I did, and I think they still remember some of the things the landmark things that I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the same history goes the scandal, the wheelbarrows.
Actually, it was not even a scandal. People made it look like a big scandal. That thing was, I think that it's just a terminology, wheelbarrow, because it was being wheeled that brought a problem. But otherwise, it was supposed to be a food trolley, and the food trolley was meant to be used in a chicken slaughterhouse, which I had started when I was a PS. And you see, if you have to export any meat, or pork, any say beef, pork, chicken, or whatever, you must use a trolley or a wheelbarrow that is non-carcinogenic, so that people don't get cancer. Actually, it's a requirement. You cannot export unless you prove that the material used was non-carcinogenic. So that is where now, you know, because of politics, and I told him I was not good at propaganda, people spinned it around and said, oh, we are buying wheelbarrows at 109,000. Then I asked, my question was, how come there was nobody who quoted 3,000, because the normal wheelbarrows are 3,000. 109 was the lowest. We had 130, and another one was about 140.
So you did not buy wheelbarrows?
We bought wheelbarrows, no ordinary wheelbarrows at the normal price. We also bought this other wheelbarrow that they were talking about, which had special material, with the main intention of using them in a slaughterhouse for transporting meat.
So it was just Propaganda.
Yeah, pure propaganda, political propaganda. And in fact, they went to court, the people who were taken to court were acquitted. So, it's,
So
it's,
it was politics.
it was pure politics.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least that's the one scandal we remember. But after that, you went back in 2017,
Yes.
and this time you're not successful.
This time was not successful. A number of factors come to play. You know, I was the only one, again, who was running on a Jubilee ticket from that region because I had a working relationship with the president and his deputy then. Although I was a party leader actually of New Ford Kenya, and we had a partnership. We were working together. So when they approached me to wind up New Ford Kenya to form Jubilee, I did it, and I said I would rather fail in a winning party than win in a losing party. That is how I ended up now, not coming back, and I ended up as a speaker. At least they remembered the work I had done for the party, and.
Of course, now before when you lost, how was that feeling? And were you sure that you'd end up as speaker at this point?
No, of course, when you lose, there's always that sense of, what exactly happened. But I don't know, somehow I was not so, it didn't bother me so much. I don't know, I had that feeling that I'll get something else. I thought maybe I would be a minister, I would fit in government so long as the Uhuru Ruto team won and Jubilee won. And surely the president called to tell me he wants me to be speaker and of Senate. I'd never thought of being a speaker anywhere, maybe except in my house. That's where I lead. So I ended up as a speaker and was elected by the senators. I'll forever be grateful to them for giving me that opportunity to lead the house.
And how has, this is your fourth year now, right?
Yeah.
How has been the experience leading as the Speaker of the Senate?
It has been very nice, given that I think I've done my best, given that I had never been a member of parliament. I've all along been in the executive. I had never been in the legislature. In fact, the first time I was interacting closely with the legislature was when I was a governor, with the members of the county assembly. But I've had my own challenges sometimes. Remember, we have had very difficult times, like when we were discussing the revenue sharing formula, which had to flop about 11 times. It was very, very difficult. We've had moments like impeachment of governors. Remember Waititu, there was Waiguru, there was Wambora. Wambora didn't come during my time. Sonko, and which other one? And of course Waititu, Waiguru, Songo, and Samboja. And now the Wajia one has also come, which is on my desk now. But I think also very interesting to note is that I have served 3 presidents and I've also hosted all of them at some point. I hosted President Moi when I was a DC Kajiado in my house. I hosted President Mwai Kibaki in Moranga in my house when I was the DC there. And then I also hosted Uhuru Kenyatta, the current president, now at my rural home in Bungoma. Bungoma, he even planted a tree in my home, which is a big honor. I live to remember. So that is how interesting it has been. Yeah.
All right. So is there a time that Senate has gotten so heated that you feared for your life?
Not really fearing for my life, but you see, the worst that can happen sometimes is an impeachment. That is what is likely to face a speaker. For example, when you don't maybe go as per their wishes, because I always tell them that I'm a servant of the house. And one moment when it was very, very difficult for me was when we took the National Assembly to court because of bypassing, not following the Constitution, because Article 110, I think, 110.3, says that if there's a bill that affects counties, then there has to be concurrence. Me and my colleague Muturi must agree before it's done, but I think they were doing it without that. So Senate was so mad, and they said, we must now take the National Assembly to court. And remember, those bills had already been ascended to by the president. So, and they said the speaker is the one to lead the Senate in marching to court. So I was asking myself, the president will see me marching to court with senators in the streets.
With things that he's already
Yeah, he's already
ascended
ascended to. In fact, he was told I was now undermining him. And when I tried to dodge going there, I told senators, why don't we meet in court? They said no. In fact, when I didn't show up early enough, they started collecting signatures to impeach me. They said after they come from court, the next thing was to impeach the speaker, because I would have betrayed them. So that was a very difficult moment, but there we were. I went, we marched with them, went to court, filed the case, we won the case. So 23 bills were nullified, but we were given 9 months to regularize, to see how they can be regularized. So that we in the process of doing.
Okay. And after having faced such experiences, what would you say has been your highest moment serving as speaker?
My highest moment, the achievements that we've realized, like what we call Senate Mashinani. Remember, that was an initiative that was taking the Senate from Nairobi to the counties, because one of our mandates is to oversight counties, is also to take care of the county interests. And therefore, having gone to the first Mashinani was in Uasin Gishu, then we had another one in Kitui. Because of COVID, we've not been able to go. But I think when the history of the Senate is written and they're talking about some of the achievements, my achievements, that will be one of them, Senate Mashinani. And of course, also having had a formula that so counties get so much money at a go, because a lot of it, again, most of the budget money that they have been getting has been incremental. But for the first time, that formula that came up, we were able to pass a formula that added money to all the counties. No county lost money. So I think that I would say has also been a good achievement for me.
All right. So as speaker, of course, you serve the interests of government, but do you feel that sometimes you fail the citizens when you have to serve the executive, and maybe there are issues that the public would have wanted otherwise?
No, you don't serve the executive as such. There's what we call separation of power. But again, separation of power does not mean you don't consult each other, you don't work together. So sometimes there are things that maybe the executive wants, but again, all decisions that I make must be decisions informed by either the standing orders or the constitution. And where it's not possible, I've told the executive that maybe that's not possible, it's unconstitutional, or it will get a backlash from the senators. So I've not gotten to a point where we've had that clash. I think using also my long experience in public service, I know when to do what and how to do it, so that I don't have a direct clash with the executive.
All right. And of course, now your term is almost coming to an end because we're going to an election. But before we do the election, there's a push for the BBI. What is the reason why, as part of the leadership of this country, you're pushing for BBI?
It's not me pushing. It's
not you, like the executive per se.
No, of course there are things that they are addressing in the BBI. They want to look at. Remember the 9 point. The BBI was as a result of the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and that came as a result of the violence that was witnessed in 2017 after the post-election violence of 2017. And one of the things that has been there always has been this violence after every election. So there are issues, and they were captured in the what was called the 9-point agenda: electoral violence, equity, and all those kind of things. So I think the bill seeks to address some of those things. So as we speak, it's already before the houses, the two houses, that's the Senate and the National Assembly. We had discussed. They have senators and members of National Assembly have been discussing. We didn't complete yesterday, so we're going to do it again next Tuesday and Wednesday for us, and the Senate will take a vote, and the National Assembly will also take a vote. So if they vote, by the way, irrespective of how it goes, it will go to the president, and the president then will liaise with IBC for a referendum.
But as the Speaker, do you feel there are concerns raised, of course, between Wednesday and Thursday by the senators and the National Assembly that need
Yeah, there were
attention?
things. There were things that were being raised, but again, I don't know. Maybe the law may not allow anything to be changed, because then that will be a different bill. Like, issues on the 7 constituencies, new constituencies were being raised. The issue of the ombudsman in the judiciary was being raised, and then the issue of the national police service. Some functions going directly to the Inspector General. So those are some of the concerns that were being raised, but by the senators, but maybe it will be addressed later.
So for now, it's whatever direction.
For now,
they decide to vote.
whatever direction they decide to vote, it will go to the president.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, now that your term is coming to an end, what is next for you?
I honestly don't know. There's
What do you mean you don't know?
there's a lot of pressure that I go back to Bungoma, but again, that's a decision I'll have to make after maybe the BBI thing goes through, and maybe if there's a referendum, because there's going to be a change of structure of government. Going to have some prime minister, deputy prime minister, and many other changes that will occur. So a lot of alignment will also come up. There are going to be people who will be running for presidency. That again will inform where one goes.
And of course, judging by your leadership and the things you feel that you will be remembered for, would you say this particular house will be remembered, and for what reasons in particular?
It will be remembered. This has been a very vibrant house. Just like I told you, it is during this parliament that we have had the highest increase of funds going to the counties. I've told you we have Senate Mashinani, which has taken place. It's during this house, during this Senate, this third Senate since independence, that we have passed progressive bills that actually ring-fence devolution or defend devolution. So it has been a very progressive house, if I would say, because you see, the quality of a house is determined by the quality of bills that are passed in that particular house.
So, and of course, so many young people want to get into politics. If there's a young person out there like me who wants to get into the Senate, what is there to watch out for, in particular for the Senate?
When you get to the Senate, first you must know that you will get to the center of, like I'm saying, devolution, because that is where matters devolution are discussed. So you must be prepared to defend the counties. You must be prepared, and of course, in doing so, and this is not new to Kenya, in doing so you may rub shoulders with the executive or the national government, because no government wants to either lose power and resources. They are reluctant. They want more resources to be at the center and not dispersed to the counties. So those are some of the challenges that you must be prepared to face. But again, it's not. Those are things that you will expect, but it's not impossible. That's why we have senators who are there. And my house has a very good blend of very young, vibrant senators and very old senators, people also who have had a lot of experience. Yesterday I was just calculating, and I realized I have 15 lawyers, 15 lawyers who are senators in the Senate. And that's a very high number, very high concentration, and that's why you have seen the house being very vibrant, and that's why you can even see the ongoing discussions getting very hot, because again, a lot of these things are a matter of interpretation. How do you interpret the law? That's why you're finding that it is very, very exciting and vibrant.
So would you say it's a good thing to have more lawyers in the
Yes.
Senate and
Yeah,
maybe a national
in the Senate. Yeah, because then you get to get different interpretations of what is coming, and given that Senate is a lawmaking house, that is very exciting, of course.
So the president earlier in the week disbanded the cancer boards, and still the COVID billionaires issue remains a puzzle. What's your comment on that?
I said we know the president has powers to disband the board, because you see, when you are appointed, you also expect to be disappointed, and he's appointing authority. Of course, the KEMSA matter, remember, is still under investigation, and it doesn't matter. wherever you go, if you committed a crime, they will definitely catch up with you. So I think for me, there's no harm. It's good to inject new blood and new people. Let us see what they can achieve for the period they will be there.
All right.
Yep.
We have probably a new Chief Justice. What do you think about Martha, lead justice?
I think she brings in a lot of experience. She's not somebody new to Kenya. I remember she was one of those. She was a human rights defender, and also a defender of a lot of women issues. And it's also just good to have the first lady Chief Justice. I'm sure she will. It will be a challenge for her because what she does, how she performs, will inform a great deal in how maybe other women can also is elevated to a senior position like that. People will be very happy and expectant.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. So as we close, what would be your final message to Kenyans at large? And now that you've said you're not even sure where you're going in 2022, I don't know if to say the people of Bungoma or the country.
Now, the people of Kenya, I just want to appeal to them that let us always, like somebody said, let us leave Kenya better than we found it. This is our only country. We have no spare country. And for those of us who are in positions, let us always leave a good mark where we have worked. That people will remember, not the years that you have served there, but what you have left behind. So I just want to challenge leaders that let us put the interests of our people always first, ahead of our own personal interests, and that we should not use our positions for our own personal glorification, personal gain, but for service to the people of Kenya.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the show.
Thank
We
you.
hope to see you again soon, maybe when you're in a different position or
Thank you.
still the speaker.
Yeah.
And of course, thank you so much. We wish you well.
I appreciate.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Of course, we've been speaking to the Senate Speaker, Kenneth Lusaka, and we appreciate your presence with us. See you next time, Sunday, 8 p.m. This is The Hot Seat.